Hello, wherever you're joining us from today, I want to say a huge welcome to our global community. We hope you're enjoying the Product Marketing Festival. I also want to send out an extra special thank you to all our sponsors, partners, speakers and participants who together have made this event possible. Their sessions are bursting with insights to help you level up. But remember, the learning doesn't stop here. If you aren't already, you can become a PMA member and benefit from unlimited access to exclusive templates, frameworks, mentors, and our entire library of on-demand event content. Make sure you have your questions at the ready. Simply post your question in the comments section and get awesome advice directly from our expert speakers. Or continue the conversation with your fellow product marketers in the PMA Slack community. What's not to love about that? So now, on to the next talk. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Product Marketing Festival. We have seen so much epic content so far today, but we have two awesome presentations left before we sign off and come back for day 4 tomorrow. So, seeing us through this awesome session on sales enablement, I would love to welcome Eli Cohen to the stage and just remind you all that obviously we will be doing an interactive Q&A at the end. So any questions or points you want clarifying, add them in the chat and I'll be putting them to Eli at the end of the session. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rose. Nice to meet you. Good to be here, everyone. And my name is Eli Cohen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sales. So so excited to be here speaking with product marketers and marketing leaders around the world. I am so passionate about sales enablement, and I'm very passionate about the relationship between product marketing and sales enablement. And, I'm going to just start with a story. When I moved to San Francisco more than 20 years ago, I can't believe it's been that long. My first job at a startup was as a product manager. And, I still remember first month in, second month in, I loved building and I loved product management and I loved kind of thinking strategy and all the things that you would be when you're a product manager. And my mentor at the time, my boss said, you know what? You probably can use with a little bit of coaching and training around what it means to be a product marketer. And I said, okay, what do we do? And he sent me to this 5-day course. And this is 1999, right? And I did this 5-day course in a hotel in San Francisco. It was with Pragmatic Marketing, great course. And now what was interesting to me and why I'm bringing this up now is that course, it was a product marketing course. And the first day was strategy, the second day was positioning, and each day focused on another pillar of product marketing. There was an entire day. The entire last day was focused in on sales enablement, sales tools, sales training, product, competitive battle cards, and an entire day. And I loved it. And that was in 99. And what's amazing is it wasn't until 2005 that we saw the rise of sales enablement. So for those of you that are newer in the industry and haven't been around for decades, sales enablement wasn't a thing before 2005. And who owned it? It was actually owned by product marketing until 2005. And you can see here, 2005 there, Google Trends was the first time people started searching it. And now we've got over 11,000 sales enablement professionals. But what I'm talking about today is I'm talking about how important it is for product marketing to own key parts of sales enablement. And this whole talk is the must-have product marketing playbook for sales enablement. And that's what I'm going to do today. I wanted to give everyone that little bit of context, just so you understand kind of my point of view, how much, I'm a product marketer, I'm a product manager way back when, who is passionate about sales enablement. So when I was reflecting on what would be valuable to a product marketing audience, I wanted to reflect on my 2+ decades of experience in sales enablement, in product management, and product marketing, and come up with kind of a playbook that I believe will be useful to each and every one of you. And we're going to spend the next 20 minutes talking about each one of these areas, how to be more empathetic and how to have a mindset that is truly sales focused as a product marketer, why it's so important to be curious and to be a student of your sales process, What does a checklist look like that should be used to roll out sales plays? And then why is it so important to keep everyone aligned and on message? And finally, how do metrics play into here and what are the metrics that matter the most? And these are the 5 areas that I believe every product marketer should be mastering so they can be great at sales enablement, just like they're great at product marketing. And I hope everyone gets a lot of value out of the next talk, out of the next little bit that I'm going to be sharing. And I like to go deep. I'm going to share templates. I'm going to share tools. I'm going to share best practices. I'm going to share stories, and let's just get through it. So I do want to share for a lot of you in product marketing and in marketing leadership positions, you may not know what great sales enablement looks like. I've been fortunate. I've had the luck of working at some of the most hyper growth companies on the planet. I worked at Salesforce.com for many years, led sales enablement there. We got to work closely with Mark Benioff, and I've been working with some of the most amazing companies on the planet. And great sales enablement doesn't happen by accident. It's intentional, it's purpose driven, it's impactful, and it follows a process. And this process is something that marketers need to subscribe to. So I wanted to start with this and just highlight that as you think about your go-to-market, whether you're rolling out a new product or whether you're rolling out a campaign or whether you're rolling out a new product release or whether you're rolling out a new pitch, whatever you're rolling out as a product marketer, I want you to have this process in your minds going forward. Because up until now, most product marketers, when they roll out new programs, they'll focus in on the content. And we know 65, 70% of content that we create for sales teams don't really get used. They don't get consumed. And so as product marketing leans back into sales enablement, as they lean back in and start embracing sales enablement, because frankly, sales enablement can live either in product marketing or it can live in sales ops. And we can touch on that as well if any questions come up. So, but as product marketers, when you're rolling out programs, here's how you should be thinking about sales enablement. You got to publish your content. You got to publish your programs. You got to publish your plays. Check. Most people stop there. Then you got to think about teaching your teams. How do you teach them? They got to learn by doing. We want them to practice. We want them to practice the pitch, the demo. We want them to practice. And we want them to show you and not tell you that they know how amazing your great programs and amazing content is. Then we want to formally assess them. We want them to stand and deliver presentations. We want them to complete assessments. We want them to get certified. Then we want to see how they apply your great content to their conversations, to their deals. And we want to see that in real time. Then we want to provide reinforcement with managers providing coaching. Then we want to provide just-in-time tools in context. Then you want to measure the outcomes and start correlating all this great activity so that way you know from a win-loss perspective what's working, what's not working. And then finally, you want to continue to iterate and do this over and over. So hopefully you appreciate that to do great sales enablement, you got to have a process, you got to have your teams aligned, and you really need to subscribe to the idea that it's more than just publishing. And so as we go through those 5 elements of the playbook, I'm starting first with the mindset, right? So as product marketers, we want to have the right mindset. It needs to be collaborative. You need to be empathetic. One of the things I've done over my years is because I was born in sales and my father taught me how to sell from a very, very young age. And I was a product manager that was very sales focused. And that was kind of what drove me into sales enablement. But that's not natural for every product marketer. You got to lean in. You got to talk to salespeople. You got to listen to them. You got to understand what's working, what's not working. You got to sit on their calls. You got to listen to their calls. You got to not be afraid to join the frontline manager meetings. Raise your hand, send them a note, join them, listen to them, figure out what's going on. You'll learn so much by just talking. We want you to crowdsource tools. It's not just about the great tools you can build, because you can build great content, but it's got to work. I actually love content that salespeople build, and then I can bring it in, make it look a little prettier, and then roll it out to the masses and say, this was a piece of content that was used by our top performer, and now we're making it available to everyone. That's how we share best practices. That's how we crowdsource. That's what being collaborative product marketing leader who embraces sales enablement is. And ultimately, I want every one of the salespeople that you're enabling, I want them to call you a true friend of sales. That was something that someone called me way back when, and it stuck with me, right? So this is just the starting point. You got to have the right mindset, and it's got to be collaborative, and it's got to be empathetic. The second is you got to become a furious student of the sales process. So I want you to be uber curious. I want you to go through all the training and the coaching and the onboarding, just like your sales teams do. So that way you can really understand the details of the sales process and also the customer success process, right? So you can see here, we've got a process around prospecting and diagnosing and prescribing. It's just a standard, kind of sales process. But how do you become a student, and how do you become more curious? As a product marketer, you should be looking at emails. You should be looking at the lead records in Salesforce or Microsoft. You should be viewing pipeline data. You should be looking at all of the outreach cadences and outreach that's happening in the prospecting funnel. You got to dig into it. Go look for it, ask to see the emails, get access to the systems. I want you to listen to calls. I want you to join calls. I want you to make sure you've got to log into your sales systems and go look at the data, create reports, try and figure out, as deals are getting created, why are they getting stuck in the stages? Look at the answers, ask questions, and then, do the training just like the skills training, just like the reps would. It will only help you be a better product marketer, and it will only help you enable your teams better. We want you to understand the prescribing stages, right? So look at the demos, read the proposals, talk to customers, find out why they're buying, find out why they're not buying, right? These are ways that you can become more curious. And then we want you to assess win-loss. We want you to interview reps, reps that have won deals, also sellers that have not been so fortunate, have lost deals, because I love learning from losses. And actually, sometimes I don't call them losses. I call them win-backs, because we can win them back. And then we want you to share successes, right? So really want you to become super curious about the sales process, and you've got to be a student of it. You've got to learn it. And this sales process is going to guide us as we continue through this talk, because the third piece, and I get asked this all the time. So what should be included in a play? When we roll out a new product, or we roll out a new campaign, or we roll out a new program, or we roll out a new pitch, what should be included? So I sat back, I thought about it. Here are the 10, must-have items that are in a sales play checklist, right? All this is in SalesHood, and I'm going to talk more about how you can get access to all this. And this is all baked into our platform. Our customers are using this checklist to roll out programs. And just to kind of give you a glimpse here, right? You want to be really clear around buyer personas. You want to have micro pitches. I'm going to explain what that is in a minute. It's up to you to write the emails and the cadences. It's up to you to kind of write down some of the discovery questions around your products, around your buyer personas, create meeting guides. Like, I love that. Like, here's how meetings should flow. Meeting agenda templates by sales stage, customer stories, ROI stories, value calculators, proposal templates, battle cards. The items that are in bold are the items that I'm going to go through in a little bit more specificity. But listen, when you're rolling out programs, you should be following and including these 10 items in every single program and every single play that you're rolling out for any new product launch or any release update. It's so critical. I can promise you this: if you follow this and you follow the mindset that I shared, your sellers, your partners, your revenue-facing employees will love you. They will love the work that you deliver, and they'll highly regard the value that you're contributing and helping them. And you're going to help them close more deals, because that's what this is about. And so let me walk you through a few of these. Here's a template for a strategic, ideal customer profile. This is like a buyer persona. So when you're thinking about your buyers, you want to provide detail. This can be delivered in a slide. It can be delivered in a doc. It can be delivered as a video. You could have testimonials. But what you do need to capture are these key points, right? So I want you to capture the demographics, the psychographics, and why they buy. I want you to capture the current situation. What is their world, and what's their universe like now? I want you to capture the compelling events. What are those trigger events that are going to help them, that they need solved? And I want you to track the metrics and KPIs that are important to the ideal customer buyers. And then, you got to provide detail around ideal customer size, geographic, and industry fits as well. So I love this because it provides a framework for the most important item. And we tend to not do this enough. We don't put enough focus on providing this level of detail and training to our sellers. And this is, I think, one of the most important items in the checklist, and something that I hopefully you'll all start building more consistently. And, I think A second item here is customer reference stories, right? I think most companies do a decent job getting that 1 or 2 minute video on the website. They'll provide a case study. But where I'm impressing upon here is, it's important that we provide our sellers with the story, but written up in a way that they can retell it in 2 minutes or less. And here's a framework. When we teach our sellers how to tell and retell our success stories, I encourage them to lead with impact, right? Don't start with, oh, woe is me, the world is, all messed up, and here are the business pains. No, start with, hey, this company was able to boost productivity by 100x in under 6 months. This company was able to generate tens of millions of dollars, right? Get them excited, get the buyers to lean in, coach your sales and customer facing teams to be better at leading with the headline, right? Lead with the impact, lead with the headline. Then you get into the detail. You talk about the context, the current situation, then you share the steps, and then you kind of punctuate it with the quantification of the benefits. And then, ever so important, close with a question. What would happen to your business if you achieve the same outcomes? Bam, who doesn't want that, right? So as you think about this item, which is one of 10 in the in the checklist, that would be part of the sales enablement playbook for product marketers, writing out the stories, thinking about this, and then making them available and getting your teams to practice them. Wow, think about that. That's enablement. And that's what we need to do a better job doing. And that's why I'm here talking to all of you, because I want you all to up-level your teams and up-level how you're enabling your teams as well. And then another top sales tool that comes up a lot, I get asked a ton, hey, do you have a template for a battle card? And you know what? There are a lot of templates out there. And I'm sharing with you today this simplified version for a reason. It needs to be simple. And when we have competitors, you can have hordes and hordes and hordes of material. You should have it all, but you got to have a summary. It's got to be a simple battle card that looks at 2 dimensions, strengths and weaknesses. Because if a competitor has a strength, hey, it's okay they have a strength. No problem. Don't shy away from it. Just enable your teams to have a clear idea of how they're going to overcome the strengths. And the way they overcome it is by being consultative, value-based sellers, where they really understand the key pains and the key problems that their customers are facing, and they can, help the customer decipher if that strength is important to them or not, right? So it's okay that there are strengths, but is it important to the buyer at this exact moment in time? I don't know, but that's a conversation, right? And then the same with weaknesses. When they have weaknesses, they have them, right? I'm not encouraging you to batch. I'm not encouraging you to bash. What I'm encouraging you to do is plant traps and ask questions, right? So how important is it for you to have ABC, right? How important is it for you to have a mobile system that is 100% native? How important is it for you to have an all-in-one sales enablement platform, right? So you see, those are questions that you can ask a buyer, and it's up to you as a product marketer to detail the strengths and the weaknesses. And then same. Get them to practice, get them to learn, get them to stand and deliver the presentations, get the managers to do reinforcement coaching, make these battle cards be available just in time in Salesforce, in Microsoft. And that's how all these tools start kind of coming together, which is amazing. And you know what? We've got a ton of great customers. I love Cali Apps, amazing story, and how they were able to roll out sales plays last summer, industry specific, persona based during the pandemic, using SalesHood. And they followed our checklist, and they rolled it out in a collaborative, asynchronous way where their teams were able to go through it virtually, and they were able to generate the highest amount of pipeline and have the best win rates in Domo history. And we got a lot more around this. We can share with you the stories. We can really talk to you about the detail here, but it's super exciting. And so the last piece on the third pillar of the playbook, which is all about sales plays and rolling them out in a collaborative way, is to make sure that the checklist of materials, when you're rolling out your plays, that it shows up just in time, in context, inside of your sales process, wherever your sales system is. So you can see here, there's a screenshot of Salesforce. This just-in-time context guided selling app is powered by SalesHood, and it can be fully integrated with Box or Dropbox or Drive or SharePoint, all that goodness, but it shows up just in time. And whatever system you're using, I want you to make sure that those files and those assets and those videos that you're creating, they're being tagged appropriately and they're showing up exactly when your sales team needs them, because that's when they need it most. When they're just about to jump on a call, or where they're on a call, or where they are doing a follow-up recap, or when they flipped the chain, when they've flipped the stage, or they've identified a new competitor, or something has changed. So you got to make sure that you are following your salespeople around with those tools, with those assets, and with all the training and coaching. And it's up to you to create it. And then it's up to you to work with sales ops and sales enablement to make sure that those items are following up. And, I love it, right? Another great customer, Power School, Carol Sostala. She did an amazing talk that you can find on our YouTube channel. And listen, they have been able to see a huge increase in their ramp time, in their win rates, in all of their metrics. Why? Because they're spoon feeding the right content in the right context at the right time to help their sellers build pipeline faster and close deals faster. And so amazing stories. I'm all about the checklist. I'm also, the fourth playbook pillar here is all about messaging alignment, right? So critical. Think about it. We're product marketers. We're investing so much time creating pitch decks and positioning and branding, and we're focusing in on the right messaging, and we're doing them industry specific, persona based. And then we create these amazing decks. And then guess what? We just kind of drop them off, and we hope and expect that our teams will learn them and know them. We got to get them to be conversationally competent. We have a proven 10-step process where it starts with launching a new pitch, training your team, practicing and recording the pitch, getting the managers to do the peer reviews. So you see here, hopefully you're walking away with an appreciation for how hard enablement is, but how much of an active participant the product marketing role and all product marketers are in helping to drive this, because we need your content. And you got to understand how sales teams want to consume the content, where they consume it, when they consume it, how they're going to learn it, where are they going to get feedback from their teams and from their managers. And once you understand that process, then you can lean into it and really build the right kind of content. Because building the right kind of content is what is going to get salespeople to close more deals faster, and really appreciate you and your team and the product marketing organization for all the greatness that you deliver. And what I've done here is I've created a slide that talks about micro pitches, right? A lot of folks in product marketing will create a 10, 20, 30 slide deck, whatever it is, right? Beautiful. But you got to break it up to small pieces. You got to map those small pieces directly to the stages in the pipeline, stages in the sales process, And you can see here are some examples, right? 60-second elevator pitch, 2-minute customer reference story, 6 to 8 minute customized proposal presentation, 6 to 8 minute demo walkthrough, 3 to 5 minute on each one of the key value differentiators, 3 minutes on objection handling, 5 minutes on a mutual success plan, and 5 minutes on a value-based business case. Like, what would happen to your teams if you re-architected your content, made it available in a bite-sized form like this, and then had your teams become conversationally competent by practicing, getting feedback, standing and delivering, and being measured on their ability to create very focused storylines around each one of these questions. Because guess what? These are real questions that are going to happen in real deals. And they're not always going to be able to just go, oh, let me go through the 30 slide deck. It ain't going to work that way. Customers are going to say, so why are you different? Or why are you more expensive? Or what does success look like? And we have to be ready when those questions come in. And the only way we're going to be ready is if we practice them. And the only way we can practice them is if we get the content organized, created, and shared with us in a way. And guess whose responsibility that is? Product marketing. So hopefully you're finding this useful in the way that we're framing up the importance of product marketing in the sales enablement function, and most importantly, how product marketers are able to really deliver value to sales organizations. And here's another example. I did take the corporate pitch. You can see there, that's an example of what it would look like to practice and stand and deliver and get feedback and have leaderboards. And I love that. And that's amazing. The best practice I want to share with you here, it's all powered by SalesHood. And the one thing I want to share with you here is when you're rolling out corporate pitch slides, you got to do the micro pitches. You got to break it up to small pieces. But here's something, little secret. Roll out your corporate pitch slides, record it, do an amazing talk over it. Then do a behind the slides. Explain the slides, the transitions, the questions to ask on the slides. Explain the why of the slides. Then get a rep, a seller, to do a real walkthrough of the slides. And then do a short and a long version. See how much enablement is happening. It's not enough to just create the 30 slides and write out a script. That's not going to cut it. And then we got to get our teams to stand and deliver. They got to practice. They got to practice through a video-based role play system. They got to practice with their peers in one-on-one mentoring. They got to practice with their managers. They got to practice in team meetings. The more practice, the better. You got to create scorecards so that way they understand what's important to you around the key messages. And you want to have peer reviews and manager coaching. And if anyone is interested in using SalesHood for pitch practice and to roll out your next pitch challenge with your teams, you can easily find a trial a request form, and we'd love to have you use the system for that. And the fifth area in the playbook is all about measuring the metrics that matter the most. And so, it's not about your content, and it's not about, who looked at your videos or who's downloaded your content. It's about, and this is the most important thing, it's about seller ramp time. It's about win rates, and it's about quota attainment, and it's about leading indicators, and it's about helping to move the revenue needle. Now, the reality, and I wanted to share this with a lot of you because you may not actually be aware of this, most sellers are not hitting quota. Crazy. Think about it. Think of all the systems, all the tools, something's off. 50% of revenue is coming from about 20% of our sellers. This is from CSO Insights. Depending on where you are in the world and what company you are, 30 to 50% of the folks around the world are hitting quota. So we've got way too many people that aren't hitting the numbers. But what the problem is, most enablement professionals and most folks are measuring and looking at the wrong kind of data. They're looking at completion data. Did they do all the training? Okay, that's nice. Did they watch all the videos? Okay, that's nice too. Did they get that certification? Great. This is important. But what's more important, and this is the lesson for everyone here, I want to look at activity metrics, conversion metrics, outcome metrics. I want to look at calls made, emails sent, meetings held, opportunities created. So when I'm rolling out new products, when I'm rolling out new programs, when I'm rolling out new plays, as product marketers, you should come to the table asking for this information. Can we measure calls made? Can we look at these leading indicators? Why? Because that'll give you an indication of whether your content and whether your programs are actually making a difference. I don't want you to wait till the end of the year to look at the P&L and to look at the outcomes and look at the revenue. I want you to know in real time. And this is, I think, so critical. Product marketers are data driven. And so you can really come to the table and help the sales enablement teams and help an organization make better use of your content and tie it better to some of these leading indicators in a much more succinct manner. And so I want you to look for front of the funnel activities, right? So again, this is why I told you at the beginning, you got to become a student of the sales process. You got to master the sales process. You got to be so curious about it, right? So I want you to look, okay, if you're doing training around prospecting, what are some of the leading indicators? Calls, emails, meetings. If you're doing some training and you're doing some enablement around discovery, I want you to actually look at discovery calls and meeting recaps and call recording. So you see here, you got to start mapping the leading indicators to the stages in the sales process, and you got to build content that's going to feed into that. That's kind of like the essence of how you can be a more effective product marketer who's embracing sales enablement and following our playbook for sales enablement, which is great. And so I'm getting close to the end here. And for those of you that are newer to sales enablement, or those of you that want to up-level sales enablement, we do have an amazing offer. And the amazing offer is a leadership course. It's free. You can sign up off of our website, off of our homepage. You can look at the URL here, but we'll take you through systematically, topic by topic, how to be strategic, how to measure revenue outcomes, how to do a rollout sales plays. The checklist is in there. How to roll out messaging alignment programs to get your teams on message. How to do, I didn't talk much about onboarding, but how to do onboarding that's going to deliver ramp to revenue in a super ramp to revenue faster. And then ultimately how to build a business case so you can look for more resources. And I love this class. I love this course. I personally curated it, and excited to have you in the hood and excited for you to take advantage of this. It is free. And we're just trying to elevate the profession. We're trying to elevate how folks are embracing sales enablement and how folks are learning and using it and making it be a real go-to-market lever, because ultimately we want to help companies boost the productivity of their sales organizations. We want to, reverse the trend where sellers are not hitting quota. We want more salespeople hitting quota. We want to help more sales teams be productive. We want to help companies develop high-performing teams faster. And that's what we're doing. And we strongly believe that the relationship between product marketing and sales enablement is strong. And the history demonstrates it because of, product marketing used to own sales enablement. And so we just got to make sure that those linkages remain and that we remind product marketing of how important they are to help companies be successful. So again, so excited to be here, and thank you very much for the opportunity to share in this talk all about the must-have playbook for product marketers on sales enablement. And thank you very much.
Thank you to you, Eli. That was an awesome session, absolute whirlwind of information, and some great resources everyone can follow up with afterwards. So really appreciate you and the team kind of sharing those as well. A couple of points that I would love for you to clarify. So let me run through them. We had one attendee saying that it seems like the sales enablement process has to happen way before the launch. So you have to do a lot of the prep in the lead up to a product launch, in fact. Is that kind of something you'd agree with? Is there like an ideal start time, or is it just a constant battle to improve?
Yeah, no, I love it. And so great question. And whoever asked that question, you can always reach out to me afterwards and we can go deeper. So for a company to really be great at sales enablement, the process that we outlined, and which is clearly defined in my book as well, and which lives inside of our platform, it needs to be, you need alignment between CRO, CMO, CEO, all the executive stakeholders. Excuse me, you need alignment around who's going to do what, because product marketing has some responsibility, sales enablement has some responsibility, ops has some responsibility. And so if you can get organizational alignment around a sales enablement go-to-market process, then that needs to happen. Then you roll out a new product or you roll out a new campaign, then you've got a process that's already defined. Then it makes it a lot more seamless, and then you can actually, you'll see a dramatic improvement in actual internal productivity between teams. You'll see less friction between organizations because everybody clearly understands what their role is. My book is called Enablement Mastery for a reason. It's all about enablement is a company-wide initiative, and it requires all groups to be aligned on who's doing what. And so that's the answer to my question, to that question. Sorry.
Absolutely. And then in reference to your discussion about kind of what to include on those battle cards, which is so crucial, someone suggested, what about using the idea of, potential, as in, does a competitor have A plus B that could make it easier to get to C? I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
So I'm not following. Can you maybe clarify the question a little bit more?
So using on your battle card as if you're using the point around kind of the potential of, I guess, where you could go if you were to use this tool. So for example, identifying that a competitor has A and B that would make C as the potential. Do you see that as kind of potentially being a useful addition to a battle card? So there's a lot. If you look at the detail of what needs to be in in the battle card, detail has a lot more information that I didn't cover, right? There's so much in there. I want company info, and sure, but as a salesperson, what do I need? I need to have clarity, and I need to practice, and I need to be able to be measured on, and I need to be able to be conversationally competent on the strengths and the weaknesses. Because if there are strengths that my competitor has, I need to respect them, I need to learn them, and then I need to be able to overcome them using value-based discovery. And if there are weaknesses that they have, I need to be respectful, I need to not bash, and I need to be able to, in a professional manner, ask questions, right? I think, that is high level what I need. And if somebody wants to go deeper, then you bring in the subject matter expert. Like whenever I get asked about any of my competitors, they're great companies, all my competitors are all trying to solve the same problem, but they're all doing it differently. And depending on what your focus and priority is, and depending on what your outcomes you're trying to accomplish, maybe one of them is better for you. I don't know. Let's talk about that's the kind of consultative conversation. And unless someone feels comfortable with the strengths and the weaknesses, they won't be able to have that confident conversation, because sometimes I do recommend a competitor. I say they're better. You know what? And here's why. And people are like, what? Really? I'm like, yeah, it's okay. You'll come back. Yeah, I love the idea of it's a win back, not a loss. So there's always room for improvement at every turn.
Absolutely. I love the win backs. I guess product marketers, I think when losses happen, product marketers can schedule win back calls so they can understand what happened and what didn't happen, and they can learn from it. So that way they can write better tools, they can create better assets, and if it's facilitated properly, those loss review calls will turn into win back calls. And I've seen so many customers come back and over the years, and it's because you develop a strategy for win back.
Absolutely. Well, just want to relay a couple of those comments and feedback because people are saying absolutely awesome session. Thanks so much for sharing all these resources. And I know Frederick's done a great job of catching up with a few people. So again, feel free to reach out to Eli. You can see some details and some places to go on screen at the moment. But yeah.
If I may, just one more comment.
Absolutely.
So those of you that are listening to this call, if you're interested in connecting with me on LinkedIn, Eli at saleshood.com. I'm sure that Fred has shared that info in the feed. And I just want to thank, I just want to thank you very much for facilitating and getting the questions. I want to thank everyone for listening. And listen, together we're going to make business more productive, and together we're going to make sales organizations perform better. And it's the synergy between product marketing and sales enablement. I hope people are really walking away energized as I am. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again. That was an awesome session, and everybody stay tuned because we have got one more session wrapping up today's epic lineup. So that'll be right along in just a minute. So thanks again, Eli. Thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.